My name is Mike Wheeler. I am one of the co-founders and the operations director for EM Acoustics. The company was founded in 2002 by Ed and myself. A large part of what we did was driven by a desire to make loudspeakers with passive crossovers better.
My name is Ed Kinsella. I am the technical director, one of the founders of EM Acoustics, along with Mike. I tend to handle the acoustic design in general and sound design for venues.
The two main philosophies I guess you would look at would be simplicity and a clean, sharp impulse response. If you've got a poor impulse, it doesn't matter what you do in DSP or on the desk, it's never going to solve the problem.
The way something sounds is paramount to us. So, want to be able to deliver performances that are exciting and provoke an emotional response. But at the same time, you need the pragmatism of a manufacturer to know that there's no point building the best sounding loudspeaker in the world that's either too expensive or too difficult to use.
DSP is very cheap and is readily available, and in some ways I think it gets overused a lot of the time. There is definitely a place for it, there's no question about that, on bigger systems and on bigger products. But when you see a two-way 8-inch loudspeaker where you've got a proprietary box of electronics or processor or whatever it might be that costs almost as much as a loudspeaker does, and without that box of electronics the loudspeaker simply doesn't work, to us it just felt unreasonable. This has always been a good market for us, and I think a big part of that was in the early days our first major dealer in the UK was Autograph, based in the West End, or based in London, but with a lot of work in the West End, and very, very well known for theatre work. That exposed us as a very new company. This was, I guess, maybe 18 months to 2 years after we started the company. This exposed us to a lot of West End theatre sound designers, reputable and respected people.
There was a theatre at the school that Mike and I went to, which we enjoyed working in. We've always liked that sort of the hush of a venue, when you first go in, and the excitement of the house lights going down prior to a performance is always exciting and still is now. I think, as I say, we didn't particularly mean to, but perhaps the products that we make naturally suit that environment in that they have I hope, a warm musical tone, but that is accurate and it is easy for a sound designer to use. We've done some interesting work in the United States some years ago for Orbital, NASA, and actually the US military. Some very interesting projects, which, whilst I suppose one might think, how is that, how is a sub loudspeaker the size of a half-C container irrelevant to our industry? But it really is. It was like pure research where really the normal restrictions don't apply: size, cost, weight, all the things we have to worry about normally, and you can essentially just go bananas. We have had some success in the rock and roll area with the Quake subwoofer. That has been very well received by a few bands and touring artists over the years. Of course, rock and roll was harder early on because it's very rider driven, and that does make it difficult early on. But we're starting to have more success, especially now with the line array and soon to be bigger brothers thereof.
The Albert Hall came about basically the culmination of a lot of work, both from us and from Sound by Design, who are the in-house audio providers for the Albert. They were doing a production of Disney's Fantasia with the soundtrack played by a live orchestra, and the film shown on a massive cinema screen, and they needed to put a new system in to do that one-off show. Sound by Design approached the engineer for the show, Phil Wright, and asked him would he like to try our Halo C system. So Phil came down to the factory, had a fairly extensive demonstration of what Halo C was and what it could do, and was very much sold on its performance, so was happy to give it a try on the system. So we did. We put, I think it was it was 12 boxes aside, I think, in for that show, either side of the screen, which got extremely good reviews, both from the conductor, from the orchestra, from the Albert Hall staff, from Phil Wright himself, from members of the public. And that kind of then sort of set a theme, really, that when they would do one of these cinema shows, which they started to do more and more, they would use a Halo C system because it was compact, it was easy to rig, it was easy to get it in place, in and out quickly.
It sounded terrific, and no one could believe, frankly, not even me, that such a diminutive speaker could make it all the way from the organ to door 6 in the circle, which is about 55 metres, with real clarity in such a way that it still sounded like the Royal Philharmonic. Dave Shepherd and I designed a system in there to try to bring more of the house into stereo, very much, I understand, inverted commas stereo. It's a 270-degree room, but we thought there is no reason not to do that, and it's been very successful. And I think I'm told that the number of shows that go through the hall that use the house system has gone up significantly. And that was terrific for us. Obviously, it's you can't buy a venue like that. I mean, they can have whatever they want, and the only way to do it is for it to be right for them, which was all the more gratifying. I could have offered to give it away for free; it would make no difference at all.
From the customer's point of view, I think I feel they get excellent customer service dealing with a company like ourselves. Every job, every sale is almost personal. There is as well, I think the communication is a lot more personal. We have always prided ourselves on being a very open company. So it's a relatively small team here. You can phone the factory. The chances are, if you want to speak to the guy who designed the product, he may well even pick up the phone when you ring. It depends. It depends who's in on that day, but he's not hidden behind several layers of marketing and sales staff.
I think it's access to Mike and I up to a point, in that people can feel that they can actually talk to and interact with the owners and designers. We can be adaptable. There are a couple of high-profile houses around the world, like the Olivier at the National Theatre, where we have done custom work. We're able to do that. With a great huge company, it's, if you yell "stop the presses," it's very, very costly. But we are able to do that. And there are less layers between the owners and designers and the end users. I still do freelance shows myself where I'll be loading the trucks at 2 in the morning. I actually do enjoy it, but also, when somebody says, "Why the hell did they put the handle there?" You hear it yourself. It doesn't have to get filtered up through a load of yes men who wouldn't dare tell the boss bad news.
We have a 15,000 square foot facility here, just outside Guildford in Surrey. We manufacture all our cabinet woodwork in-house. We handle our painting in-house. We do all our crossover assembly and testing in-house, and obviously we do all our actual product assembly in-house. The major outsource is obviously the drive units themselves. Those are made by a number of different suppliers around the globe. All our rigging hardware is made by a local engineering firm just 5 miles away from here.
We have a full 5-axis CNC woodworking facility, which is terrific. It's so nice to have that in-house. The quality is stunning. The pride that the guys take in the work is just wonderful to behold. And there's also something very satisfactory about seeing literally a pile of wood coming in one end and fully QC'd pallets of speakers leaving from the other. I could only add more value by planting trees. We assemble all the crossovers in-house. Those are built from the finest components. They're made in Germany, really the very highest quality that is even remotely practical to use. The power handling requirements for passives are actually much higher than people realise.
In our industry, a loudspeaker should be an acoustic lens. It should be something which takes what's fed into it and makes it bigger, makes it louder.
Universality of the sound of our range is really just an artifact of that it's me that designs all of them. I've heard it described as a sort of Radio 4 sort of sound, which is a warm, musical, and accurate. I'm trying to get the impossible, really, where the boxes measure flat and have excellent time response, and well, really excellent impulse response. I mean, they're sort of two versions of the same thing, but so that you have the predictability as a sound designer and as an engineer, you know that you're dealing with nice flat things. You know, if you voice a speaker in a strange way, you can end up with a sort of Marmite situation where some people love it and some people don't like it, and it becomes very, very subjective. You want everything to be flat and predictable from that point of view, but it must still be something that you want to listen to, where you put some music on, and I've seen this many times in demos. What you really hope for is you put a track on and people say to you something like, oh, give me a minute, I'm just going to go to the car and get one of these CDs or something, and suddenly they want to listen to the music, enjoy the music. And I always go by Duke Ellington's maxim, if it sounds good, it is good.